Hi guys, today I am using SageMaker to automatically run a fraud detection pipeline. So the use case for today's video is imagine you are working in a fintech company and you have thousands of transactions which are coming every seconds and some of them are fraudulent. So when you have two choice, either you can detect the fraud instantly or you make mistakes. I'll do the first part. And how can we solve the problems of the corporations in the real time? So what I'll do in this video is I'm going to create a real-time fraud detection pipeline using Amazon S3, Amazon EventBridge, and AWS SageMaker. So this video isn't just a demo. It's like a production grade pipeline which I have created, and it's pretty cheap to use as well. It won't, even if when you are trying, it won't cost you much because I did it on my own and it has cost me less than $0.6. So that's in there. And let's get started. I'll start with the architecture explanation, wherein see, this is the architecture diagram I have for this event-driven ML pipeline. So what I'm basically doing is I'm uploading my file to S3, and whenever the new file arrives, it is picked up by EventBridge. And because of Lambda, we are able to run the SageMaker pipeline, and then the model is registered in the model registry, right? So you upload, I am just trying to, I'll show you the live example of how it works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy the new CSV file onto the S3 bucket. And because of the EventBridge rule, EventBridge will trigger the Lambda. And in the Lambda trigger, I'll just validate and start the pipeline. And then further my SageMaker pipeline starts, wherein I pre-process the data, train the model, and evaluate and provide the accuracy, right? So yeah, let's get started. So I am gonna just copy this sample file, wherein this is the one. So what I'm basically doing is I am in the Amazon S3. I'm copying this sample fraud data CSV file, and this is my bucket name wherein I'm copying the file, right? So I already have it in here. So I'll just run this, right? It's already uploaded. So basically what should happen is if I have uploaded the file, right? My EventBridge, if I go to my EventBridge, right? This is the Amazon EventBridge. The reason I say this is not just event bus, right? So not initiated. So what will happen is this is automatic chain that fires. So EventBridge object detects. Um, so let's see the AWS log tails, right, to verify whether it is even running or not, right? So what I'm doing is initial start runtime version, right? So I am gonna copy this log details onto this one to understand what it is saying. Can you explain from the log? Explain from the log, right? So Lambda cold start, no module name, advanced pipeline patterns. The problem set only zips Lambda triggered into the Lambda package. It never included so when Lambda tries to import, it doesn't exist inside the container, right? So update zip Lambda in this part. So I'll tell you what is the error. So I have these files, right? So this is for setting up the infrastructure, wherein it is there, this one. So zip lambda has to be updated. That's what it is saying. So that it triggers the, and I'll just save this. And now what I will do is I will rerun. I have to rerun this first. Python. Um, I'll have to rerun this, and this is there. So what I would do is I will just cancel this, and I'll just redeploy this one, right? So I'm not using SageMaker Studio dashboard to do my things. I'm using my local Visual Studio Code, which is again an easier way of managing things instead of trying to do too many clicks. Because if I show you the SageMaker Studio, right? I mean, it looks good. It's pretty cool, right? So as you can see in my pipelines, I already have this pipeline, right? I tried running it, but it was a manual run. So I'm trying an automated run wherein I just place the file and it runs from one end to another end, right? And also it retries and checks for duplicate files. So that is being enabled through Amazon DynamoDB. So wherein I have created a table, like a JSON table, wherein for each event run there is a time stamp associated with it, with the file. So that's how it is. For example, DynamoDB, right? So this is an in-depth video. This is the ML pipeline, right? I have created this. So event ID, based on the event ID, right? Event ID comes from your Amazon EventBridge, right? So based on that event ID, you just put up a timestamp for it, right? So this is run now, and then see the logs, right? Because it will take you some time. It did take me a bit of time to. Again, I'm getting the same error. Let me. What I've done is I just copied the file, right? As you can see, I just followed these steps wherein I just copied the file, and my pipeline is being triggered, and I can see my pipeline executing. So as you can see, there is a pre-processed data, train model, evaluate model, and model failed or model registered. And what I can see is in the Amazon EventBridge, right? So this is how complicated it is. You wouldn't get it done in the first attempt 100%. I'm pretty sure of that. It will take you a while to even understand pipes, right? Not sure this one. Schedules. So these are the event buses, right? Event buses, I can see that there is a default event bus, which is being used as three new data trigger. Yeah. So the moment I put place my file, it started running, right? And also what you can see is my DynamoDB, right? As I said, right, there is a table which is active, right? Event ID, and you can see ML pipeline dedupe, right? So what I have done is I have created this Lambda trigger, right? So I can directly what it does is parse as three details for EventBridge. I also check for idempotent already running for this file. Don't run duplicate event check. So there are three things I'm also doing. I'm also checking for duplicate files, right? If the file already exists, you don't need to rerun it, right? That is also a part of the production environment. And you also check for whether this is already running for the file, right? And so this is, I'll provide all these scripts. I think scripts is good, but understanding of what is happening, this is also very important. And this is why I feel like when you are doing things, you should be yeah, it's like understanding the different components of AWS it has taken me such a while. So I am not running any code manually, right? I have already placed my files. What I did was I just this lambda trigger.py also has this pipe SageMaker.py file, right? So I am not doing anything manually. I'm not running the files manually. It's not like I'm running them in a sequence, right? It's just I place the file over there and it starts all the process, right? Up until the end when the pipeline triggered successfully. So as you can see in here, right, there must be something pipeline triggered successfully, like pipeline started. And as I can see, my pipeline is already running in the SageMaker Studio. I can see the parameters of my pipeline. So this is, I'm using a training instance of type large. I'm targeting an accuracy of 0.80, information. This is a metadata. I'm not sure whether you see these details even in AWS videos. I mean, I've watched all of them, but they are on the surface. I mean, most of them are on the surface, just telling you the components of AWS. So I created this yesterday. I modified the pipeline today in the morning, and let us see. It has failed, by the way. Why has it failed? Let us see. Why has it failed? Visual editor, right? This is my visual editor. Fail. So like these are the different steps involved in my pipeline, right? So if I check, how do I check has it failed, right? So it will show up in here in my log, right? So my pipeline has failed, right? So what I will do is I'll just close this and I will say, oh, please show me why my pipeline has failed. It will tell me exactly the reason, right? Why it has failed. It has failed, right? So I want to know the reason why it has failed. My pipeline has failed. My pipeline has failed, right? I want to see why. To see why, right? So this is like an end-to-end machine learning pipeline, and I'm not using and running any scripts manually, right? So overall failure reason, right? Let us see which data part failed, right? So I am not, what I'm gonna do now is, and I have fixed the file as well. So I will rerun this with a different version, wherein I have a version 4, right? Something like that. But I'm not sure whether I even have that in my, let me run this, it should be okay. Now if I check my event logs, right? Event logs, if I check my event logs, so event logs are pretty important, right? It still says received event, pipeline triggered successfully, right? So is this gonna be an empty file? Sample4.csv, right? There's a brand new, will this sample4.csv, sample version 4.csv is an empty file. .csv is an empty file, right? So these are like related events, right? So that's why it's being skipped the guard lambda block smaller file than 1024 with the actual sample fraud file with the file new name, right? So this copy directly within S3 no local file. The key changes from v2 to so that will be fingerprint. So object detected, right? It triggers the pipeline and you can see in here, right, it is executing. So I'm not running the files manually, I'm not rerunning any part of the file manually. I'm doing an automated run, right? I just place the file in my S3. I can also show you the S3 part, right? What I'm doing is I'm just placing my file in the landing directory That's what happens in the production environment. So this is my bucket, right? ML pipeline, and I am just placing the file in here, right? This data, and I have different version of it, right? Can you see the different version of files? So each version has an associated timestamp associated with it, right? It creates a different event for it, and so that's how it is, right? Sample version 4.csv, sample.csv, right? So I'm just renaming them as, let me see, what does it have, right? Can I see what file it looks like? Let me see, right? How does it look like? I have no idea. I think it's an empty file just to trigger the pipeline, right? Or it might have some data, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, it does have some data, right? So it's okay. So as you can see, right, this is, yeah, I mean, use the exact same pipeline by reading the files from S3 and rerunning the whole SageMaker pipeline. It's executing the job. This time it should succeed. So if it succeeds, then my task, I think it would be like fulfilled, because you can see that even I have failed multiple times, right? So it is not gonna happen in one attempt. And because there are so many components and so many things to notice, right? It isn't just one thing. And that's why I say, I mean, while running the SageMaker, it's very important you understand source to target, right? And in between, you can use your pipeline scripts, which may be an XGBoost model or a linear learner, depending on what sort of problem you are trying to achieve. I'm using XGBoost because XGBoost is one of the best models for detection. So that's why let it run for a while, and let us see. It should be like it is still running. And what I can ask is, how can I check the status, right? You should see S3 object detected. Like if I run this, right, this one in my this is already running. So let's see this one. It will show you everything, right? Pipeline created, the same thing, right? And how can I check each step? How can I check each steps in my pipeline, right? In my pipeline triggered. So this, if you are able to do these things, I think it should be good enough, even in terms of model execution, in terms of understanding, because there are certain questions on Amazon EventBridge, S3, pipelines. I mean, it's not like there are a lot of questions on this. I have given the exam, and I understand that. That's the reason I chose to do it from top to end. So you can see, right? I am still executing the train model part. I have succeeded with the pre-process data part. So these are the steps which you need to understand, right? It's still executing those steps. We will just wait for it to finish, and I'll come back then. So while it is executing the train model job, I will explain you the scripts in the sequence, right? What I actually did in order to achieve an automated pipeline through Amazon EventBridge. I also use Amazon DynamoDB. So if I go to my VS Code, right? So the first thing was, as you have seen, right? This setting up your infrastructure, right? So you have to get it right. You have to set up your S3 bucket, and you have to set up your training instance type. And so this is like the infrastructure setup you need. It is a bit manual, like unlike you create a Jupyter Lab instance and try doing it from there. But I wanted to avoid all of that. I would just want to control from one place. Then you have your sample for CSV file. Then you have these two scripts, right? Evaluate and preprocess. These are actually present within my S3 bucket, right? So they are being picked up from there. And for advanced pipeline patterns, what I did for this was I wanted to detect the fraud as well as I wanted to handle the duplicate events, right? So, for example, an event bridge can deliver the same S3 event more than once, right? I want to avoid that. So, what I created a table in DynamoDB wherein I have a schema, right? Event ID and key type is hashed, right? Billing mode, paper request, and enable time to live on the table, right? So, table will TTL and ML9 pipeline dedupe as I showed you earlier, right? So you can detect and also idempotent pipelines, right? Even with dedupe, a lambda retry or operator rerun might fire the pipeline twice for the same, right? SageMaker will happily start to execution. We want to avoid that at all, right? We don't want to do that. That's the reason I got this advanced pipeline patterns.py file, right? You can use exact same code with your parameters, with the jobs. And also you have to set up a lot of roles, which I didn't show you, right? So in the IAM, right, you need to, for your user, you need to set up a lot of inline policies, which I will provide in the video description. Whatever step you need to do, it will be available. What problem I'm solving, how did I solve it, where I got stuck, everything will be available in the video description so that you are able to replicate the same and use this pipeline even for your production environment with all these things. Yeah, I think it's still taking a lot of time, right? I am concerned about my compute cost. That's the reason I started using my local VS Code, right? I don't want to implement on Jupyter Lab, which sucks, you know. It's not like very good experience. You can just use your local VS Code and do all those things. Let us check again, you know, what is the event. Yeah, so it has succeeded. Can you see that? Even my train model part has succeeded, and I am on the evaluation of the model, right? So of course it's gonna succeed. So if you guys, yep, so it is gonna succeed, right? If you are watching my video and you have watched until now, until this length of the video, and if you really like what I do, please consider subscribing my channel and liking this video as it helps me to make more videos of this type. And as I say always, my videos are not at an introductory level. I try to deep dive into things, try to connect different components and see how you can automate things without manual intervention, like which is the best part of being a data scientist or a data engineer. Like you should learn how to automate things. You should be and something which can be run every day. And I really appreciate for all the likes and the subscribe you guys do, and it keeps me motivated. So let's continue with what I was doing. As I can see, it is still. I think I should be able to see wherein, right, this is a graph. So this part has done. So if I click on this part, right, does it show status executing, right? This is like pretty much same to as I show, right? This, if I look at the status of this one, it has succeeded, right? So when then you can see, right, the status of each part. So it's still running. It's executing details. You can also see the details, right? Processing, start time, step caching enabled. You can also see the logs, right? Like there are so many details it is available at each step. And I think it is taking longer to run this pipeline. Let me again go here, you know. So this I am doing. I and So if I again see, you know, pending, you know, to watch it in the real time in a loop. Let's see this, right? It says, oh, watch it in a real time in a loop. I will see this. It will show me ZSS command drop watch not found. Let us see again the execution steps, right? Where is it? So I can see everything has succeeded, right? So you guys can see, right? So each step of the pipeline has succeeded. Let me go back. Yeah. So finally we are here, right? Registered model. Had it registered the model? Let us see. I don't know. I have no idea, right? So pipelines, deployments. So I have no idea whether it has registered the model right or not. Let us go to the pipeline, right? It says, oh, it has succeeded. Auto retrain. Let us see, succeeded. But where it is registered, I have no idea. Fraud detection. Let us see in the pipeline, right? Succeeded. Models, my models, right? So there is one model, right? I have registered my own model in my this SageMaker Studio model, right? View all versions. There is one only, right? There are not many versions of it. Pending manual approval, I can approve the model, right? That's also is required. So you can just click on this and say, oh, it is, I can approve the model, right? So that can be done. That's not a big deal. So um, I think this is all I have for this video. And I hope I was able to explain and show an automated pipeline which starts from just copying a file onto S3 and that triggers a SageMaker pipeline, right? I am not doing anything manually, so I hope this video helped you guys to understand the AWS SageMaker components and the other components such as EventBridge as well as DynamoDB. See you guys in the next video.